Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Predator, Killer of Killers, currently on Hulu in America and Disney Plus throughout the rest of the world. This is an animated film, and I think it's done very well, but it's not perfect in my personal opinion. We get short stories which are all connected at a point where we see an individual in their own time period. So we have a Viking in the Viking era, a shinobi in the feudal Japan era, and a World War II pilot, obviously, during the Second World War. And each of these people, at some point in their lives, had to fight the Predator, and they survived. They defeated the Predator. And when we see these stories played out, they are done very well. The World War II one is a bit over the top crazy, in my personal opinion, but I can understand the animators and the writers feeling that we had to maybe take this particular battle in a different direction, whilst the first two stories being in the Viking era and feudal Japan, they're a bit more grounded, and they are flamboyant in their own way, but they're not as crazy as a World War II fighter pilot fighting in his plane going up against the Predator, if you can imagine that. Nevertheless, the stories are done reasonably well. Even the third one, which I didn't like too much, was okay, but and like I said, we also get a lot of gore and some craziness and some interesting moments, and it's all tightly packed, really well for short stories that have to be interconnected within a time frame of 1 hour 25 minutes. But the finale does, in my personal opinion, kind of let this story down to a degree. It's done so well that it is such a shame that I did not feel satisfied with how they decide to end it. And when they do end this particular film, they do end it on a cliffhanger, or like a to be continued, so to speak, where you know that there's more yet to come. And to a degree, I have no problem with that. But that final act leading up to that, it's just not for me. It's not how I wanted things to end up, so to speak, and the execution of it didn't leave me too satisfied. We see the Predator's home world. Not too happy with that. Remember, we are talking about an advanced race, even though they have a very sort of primitive ideology of hunting and all of that. They are still a very uniquely advanced race that has been conquering space for centuries, sorry, for millenniums, coming to Earth before we even knew what electricity was, and doing what they're doing. Yet when we go on their planet, you think to yourself, damn, this looks like some sort of backwater planet you see in a Star Trek movie. It's very uninspiring, so to speak, and I didn't really like that too much. You wanted maybe a bit more of that technological advance sort of creativity in the planet, instead of being so barren and deserty like. I understand they were in an arena and they were fighting and stuff like that, so maybe we didn't get to see any or all of the planet, but it still felt very primitive in a weird, bizarre way. Regardless, I'm not going to let that sway me too much regarding that final third, or that final act, the final quarter, so to speak. I did think it wasn't that great. It just needed maybe a different direction or a different way of writing, just to really culminate it in a way that satisfied you after watching the first three acts. And you kind of felt maybe things were kind of going in the wrong direction after watching the third story regarding John Torres, the World War II pilot. You're thinking to yourself, wow, this is just fucking stupid. Crazy, you could say crazy, but at the same time, you could say this is fucking stupid. And the first two stories were so great. Especially the samurai story, like, it was so beautiful to watch at times. Some of the action scenes and stuff. It was glorious. It really was. And even the Viking moments were fantastic as well. I did really like it. Very rugged and all of that. But the World War II sort of dogfighting with predators, it's fucking stupid at times. Like, especially how things culminated in that particular story. And then we obviously have the final act, which I already mentioned I didn't appreciate at all. And I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. I don't want to overly spoil this. I did say some spoilers. I don't want to ruin this. But nevertheless, I would say that this is more good than bad. I did enjoy this. Like I said, there was something there, and they did a decent job with it. It just didn't stick the landing for me. That's the only problem with this. I hate that about this film. You know, it's almost upsetting that something that starts off so well can end off so poorly, which is why I'm stuck with regarding the mark. Because if I give it something like a 6 out of 10, then I feel like I'm underrating it. If I give it a 7, then maybe I'm not showing the appreciation for what I did enjoy about this movie. But then if I give it an 8, I've complained about this too much for me to give it that level of marking, because once you get to 8, 9, 10 territory, you are getting into like really good territory. So I'm going to give this film a generous 7 out of 10. You will start enjoying this when you watch it, but if you're anything like me, then you probably won't appreciate how it culminated. So yeah, that's just my opinions on this film. So if you have seen it, I do recommend watching it. If you haven't, it's Predator today. It's a franchise that we all hold dear to our heart. The first and the second one are excellent. Even Predators is not too bad as well. So we want these stories to keep continuing. We want people to take another shot at it and improve on it and all of that. So yeah, keep working on it. And obviously this film does end with a to be continued sort of vibe. So let's hope that when they do continue with this, they can rectify some of the wrongs of it. It's hard to say if they can, to tell you the truth, because they won't be necessarily doing any of the flashback stuff, because they'll be continuing from where they left off. So we'll see how they resolve. Well, I mean, I don't want to say resolve, but we'll see how they continue with that, and hopefully that they can learn from some of the mistakes they made in this particular movie. Alright, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care now. Bye bye.